Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, I was so excited yesterday to welcome Chris into our weekly lesson that I decided perhaps today we could continue looking at a word and its meaning. The word I chose is the word rage. Rage, as you might know, means some kind of extreme anger. But what you might not know is that it can be used as a verb and it can be used as a noun. Let me just give you some examples, first of all, to put it into context. Well, I went to buy some earbuds the other day. You know, those wireless headphones, the ones you put into your ears and then they fall out as you go running. Yes, and I wanted my earbuds to be in a white case, but actually the shop that I went to only had a black case. So I was raging. I really wasn't happy. So you can hear there that as a metaphor, raging means extremely angry. Of course, earbuds they're not really something you can get overly excited about. So I am speaking metaphorically here. I was raging. I was furious. I was angry. To rage, it often pops up in 19th century novels. The sea was raging against the coastline. It means the sea looked angry. We often talk about angry seas and how a calm comes over the top of them. So the sea was raging. That's another example of the verb to rage. Of course, as a noun, I was in a rage. John went into a rage. And when someone's going into a rage, getting very angry, we often use another little metaphor that they flew into a rage, like a bird to fly. So John flew into a rage, for example. That's also very, very common. You can imagine in British culture where we don't really express our feelings very well, we tend to have kind of opposites. We're always very, very calm, but there's a weird paradox because when we talk to each other, we talk about, oh, I was raging, I was furious, but it's usually on very minor things. For example, I was working in a shop the other day and the man didn't say thank you. I was furious. I was in a rage. So you can hear that it doesn't really add up, So we often use this word as an exaggeration of the circumstances. But to rage means basically to be really furiously going on about something in a very angry way. But we also use it about nature. The sea was raging and the fire was raging. And this year, of course, we had those fires which were raging across Los Angeles. When we talk about fashion, we also talk about things being all the rage. I noticed in a few recent wedding photos that I've seen online, for men to wear a proper business suit with trainers, sneakers, is all the rage here. And even some women wearing their wedding gowns or their wedding outfits, and then you look at the feet and you see sneakers or trainers. This is a rage right now. It's all the rage to do that. And that just means it's the fashion. So there we have some different meanings for the word rage. We have to rage when you're bitterly complaining, something which is all the rage, which is a fashion. Nature raging as well. That's something else which pops up now and again. A synonym of rage, I suppose, in English is simply anger. But it's more than anger. It's more than that moment where you feel something. It's perhaps more best described as fury, or to be furious about a particular situation. Psychologists and the psychiatric industry, they refer to people as having an inner rage, and how we should channel our anger into something positive. It's very interesting. So it seems that inside all of us, we have this rage. But it's more than simply anger. It's something deeper, something much worse, and something incredibly harmful. If you think of the sea and the fire raging, that gives you a clue as to exactly how strong the emotion is. It's really interesting when we talk about inner rage, because apparently inner rage is not something that we're always in touch with. You can be raging on the inside, but you don't realize, you can be acting very calm on the outside until, for example, you just at one particular moment overreacts and maybe act in a way which is culturally unacceptable. That's a good definition of inner rage. And that's why I say, I think we all have it. And if you tap into it, there's lots of energy there, but it also can be very dangerous. It's like a fire that's raging inside you. But for the most part, if I say I'm raging, usually it just means I'm a little bit angry. The real meaning of rage, though, is something much deeper, which goes far beyond our actions, deep into our psyche or our soul, with some kind of anger about maybe our situation or our past, maybe something we don't even understand at the moment. I'm not the kind of person that gets angry, unless someone eats all my sweets, in which case I really can get very angry. But I'm not someone that flies into a rage very often. I can get very upset, and I can get a little bit bitter and cynical. But a rage is something much deeper, much more harmful, and that could involve harming someone physically if you're not in control of your rage. Some people get so angry at certain moments, and in those moments, we sometimes say they've gone into a blind rage. And it just means that they were not in touch with their anger, they just exploded and don't even remember what they did. And when they look around and see the results of their actions, maybe throwing tables over in the bar or whatever, that's a good example of a rage or a blind rage. Well, what words rhyme with rage? Well, of course, there's page, the page of a book. So you've got page, rage. Oh, sage. That's that delicious herb that you can have with sausages. Oh, delicious. In fact, I bought some vegetarian sausages the other day, and I had some sage. I think they were actually called sage. Was it sage and herb sausage? They were delicious, absolutely delicious. I would recommend them. Or if you're brave enough to make your own, Yeah, but very, very nice, delicious sausages. So there you have sage, page, rage, and of course, cage. Some people who maybe go into a rage might lock someone in a cage. I don't recommend that. I'm just saying that it could happen, I suppose. Or perhaps someone might break out of their cage if they're in a rage. Yeah, that's another one, Cage. Isn't there an actor called Nicolas Cage? Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I've heard the name before, Nicolas Cage. So Cage, Rage, Sage, Page. You know, when you empower someone to go into a rage, when you kind of try to encourage that rage, there's another verb. It's to enrage. It means to fuel the fire, to try to push someone into a rage. Yeah, that's to enrage, to empower someone to be raging. Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? To enrage. It's a bit more unusual, but we also use that one as well. What rhymes with enrage? Well, engage. That, of course, is when two people are going to get married. They get engaged, don't they? If you call a telephone and the other person is speaking on the phone and you can't talk to them because they're on another call, it means the line is engaged. To engage has many different meanings. Another one is when you involve someone in doing something for you, you engage them. So engage, that rhymes with enrage. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little moment with the verb to rage and the noun rage, as well as the word to enrage. Well, it's rather wet and windy looking outside, but we are now officially into, I think we would say, the spring, isn't it? Because British summertime started yesterday, but it's not summer just yet. We had to adjust our hours, put the clocks forward by 1 hour, as I was saying in yesterday's podcast. I had a feeling of anger or rage during the winter because it just was so dark and miserable. And I'm really pleased now that the days are a little bit longer, although I'm not so pleased that I have to go out and cut the grass in my garden. And I have Wednesday penciled into my diary so that I can do it. We say pencil in, meaning that it's tentative. It's not confirmed yet because it will be weather permitting, So if the weather permits, if the weather allows, then I'll do it. Yes. But I'm glad to see the summer is here. And I don't know what your plans are for the summer, but as I always say, it's a perfect time to practice English because you have more daylight, but it's also a holiday time when many of you will be away and thinking of going on some kind of a break. I haven't been away in ages, so I need to get something sorted, but in the dark winter days, I don't want to go. And I don't want to leave my little cat either, because he was sick last year. He's fine now, but I just don't want to leave him. I think COVID left us all kind of wondering about holidays. We no longer have that energy. And of course, to get into Europe is not easy either as a British man. After Brexit, we now have to pay to enter Europe in the same way as you have to pay to enter Britain to buy a visa. So not the best encouraging factor to get me to go on holiday. But I'm sure I'll end up somewhere. I think the last major holiday I took was to the Netherlands. Yes, and taking a holiday helps us. It stops us going into a rage. There we are. Right, well, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's talk again soon, and I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful summer. I'll be back again soon with more words and delightful things. This is Teacher Joseph saying, see you next time. Bye.